It was really bad, brutal, hard to read. It was really interesting because I was asking everybody whether did you talk to Dad about? Yeah. I phoned them and I sang him a song. I sang him.
Oh, you did?
But it was crazy because there's a song called "Good Good Father" that I sang at church. It's a beautiful song. The words were so beautiful, and I've been falling in love with my dad more lately in the last few years. Like I always have loved him, but I think early in life it's more like I loved him, but I also feared him. Feared him. I wanted to be like him. I wanted his approval and wanted all kinds of things from him. And our relationship definitely went through the ringer. Me and my dad, that's for sure. We didn't talk for a long time. I was mad at him. I spent years mad at him, and then that all changed. It's interesting. I worked on myself. I worked on myself enough to force the appearance. I believe to force the appearance of my father completely changing. Anyway, so lately it's been so sweet with my dad, so sweet, and it's hard to leave him. We go out to Agassiz. It's always hard to leave him. Always. He's always so sad. He's always so happy when we show up. And he's always so sad when we leave him. And I tell him I love him. I do. I tell him I love him and I hug him, and and that's nice. But I sang him the song. I couldn't make it because there's a line in there that says, "You're a good, good father. It's who you are," and I just fell apart. I couldn't. I was trying to go through the song, and it was getting harder and harder. I was like, Michael Jackson when he gets emotional, he can't sing, and it was getting harder, and I was like, am I gonna? And then at some point, I just completely stopped and started bawling. I just was bawling, and I was just like, the love that I felt for my dad in that moment was completely overtook me and surprised me. I didn't. In a way, I didn't know that it was that overwhelming, that it had me that hard, And I just told him I loved him, amongst my sobbing, I told him that I loved him. I think he handled it pretty well. He was pretty cool about it. It's my son. I think it's fun. And then I'm not giving up yet. So then I finished the song. I did manage to finish the song. And then we had a few good laughs about some other stuff. I fixed the sink. And they wanted to pay me, which I wasn't gonna. But yeah. But what a beautiful state to be in. Just overwhelmed in love with anything. Because we talk a lot about, there's a lot of spiritual talk around town in books and stuff, and there's a lot of spiritual knowledge to be gained. There's scriptures to be read. And there are those of us who are drawn to that, and those of us who aren't, and those of us who are kind of in between. But they're all directed at one aim, really, and that is to put it in like New Age terms, it's the loss of the ego disappearing, and that needs months of commentary itself. I mean, that could mean so many things. There's so many people that have so many different ideas about what the ego is. And there's talk about dropping the ego, dropping the self, dropping the me. And there's talk about like instant enlightenment. There's talk about preparing for enlightenment, years working hard at it, meditating. There's all these methods, but it all comes down to one thing. It's whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, and everyone's different. Whatever it takes for the gimme self, the me self that wants for itself and props up itself and builds a world for itself and interprets the world in its own way to suit its own self, interprets whatever it sees to fit its own idea. And when things appear to it that aren't the way it wants, then the ego has problems. The ego gets all about life. Or if things appear like the way they want it, then the ego's like, oh yeah, this is nice, I'm happy. And it's, how do you drop that? You can't drop it, because it's you that needs to be dropped. You can't drop your ego. It's you that needs to be dropped. That's why it can be instant. That's why it can be instant. Because you're just another display. And you are just another one of those things that you feel all kinds of ways about and want to have and have an interpretation on it and want it to appear this way and feel that way. And it's completely transient. It will end on its own anyway. And then whatever it is that is deeper than that will continue, that thing that we've been trying to build our whole lives will just be gone up in the puppets. It'll be gone, like it never was. So I find it very interesting when they talk about just surrender the ego, drop the ego. It's not like that, because the ego, or that type of mind, will just use that. Like, oh yeah, we're going to drop the me now. Yeah, I'm working on surrendering the me. This is my new spiritual identity now. Now my ego mind is hiding in my spirituality as I tell the world that I'm dropping the me, and I'm convincing myself that I'm dropping the me. That's not the way it works. How it works is an instantaneous moment happens and you're gone. And you can feel it slipping away. You can, in your spiritual life, in your spiritual practice, feel yourself slipping away and eroding as you change. And as you recognize, wow, I'm not the me I was. I'm me, but I'm not the me I was. I'm eroding in a way. But in the moment of the when you drop you, the deeper you drops to you, it's a very bizarre experience, because you're still there, but you're not you anymore. You're there, but you're not you anymore. You're you, but you're not you. And life continues. The next day comes. And you may experience that in a short duration, like an hour or a week or a day, or it may end up one day it happens and it becomes your life. But in the moment when you're overtaken by love, like that's not. When you're done, like when it's taken you and you're swept away into it, it's very similar to a moment when you break out into laughter. You're with somebody and all of a sudden both of you just break out into laughter, uncontrollable laughter. And that's the same. You're not there Like the you, the suffering you that's all worried about everything is just non-existent at that time. You, in that moment, you are completely in the moment, like complete spontaneous awareness, lost in laughter. And then you start to come down from it, the pranic changes, and then you kind of, it's like you come back down, and then like reality reasserts itself. But for a time, for a time you drop you, for a time. And it's incredibly blissful. It's such a release. It's such a release. So being lost in love is the same. If you get overtaken by that and you don't have any control over it. I'm sure everyone in this room has had those experiences. Also, if you want to go that way, also during orgasm, at the moment of orgasm, that's also what they say at a certain moment, that is like that, where you're not, probably not every time, but a lot of the time. But the beauty of the connecting, the connection with other beings is so ripe for that here. And so what is the world for other than to show us the places where we're unable to do that, where we're unable to give ourselves over to something that's present all the time. It's not like being consumed by love is like walking around the streets, knocking on doors, creeping up on you. Maybe one day it'll be your turn. It's not like that. It's in you. It is you. And then as the you that is in the way of that erodes over time, and it may take a few blasts like that, then you're exposed more and more and more to that love that you are, and then your world begins to take on that appearance. And because the you is no longer, it's like the you can no longer be, that selfish you can no longer rule in dissatisfaction any longer, because you're so satisfied, because the love that you are has finally erupted inside your inner body, inside your mind, and begin to fill you from the inside out, and you're just satisfied. You're satisfied with that. And so then all the appearances in the outer world begin to appear satisfying to you. Because you're experiencing the world from that standpoint, and you never went anywhere. You never changed your job. So, it's worthy of your time if you notice these things. Like if you're listening to a song or something and you're suddenly taken by the song, try and remember what happened there. Or if you get into a laughing fit, well, like what happened there? What happened there? Because if you think about it, me and Sean were talking about this the other day actually, but in that moment of a fit of laughter or a moment of extreme love or extreme gratitude, I mean there's many of them, the mind is not resisting anything at that time. The mind is not worried about the past or the future. Like there is no past and there is no future at that time. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't actually exist for you. So it's entirely possible to wake up and there be no past and no future, other than your choice to look at it relatively. In other words, not pulled by the past and not pulled by the future. And maybe that's what those days like Father's Day are for. Maybe they're placed in our calendar to give everyone a chance once in a while to touch into something, by obligation. To think about their dad, or think about their mom, or think about, well, they have all kinds of days, don't they? Isn't it like Secretary Days, something like that? Yeah, I mean, a chance to actually look at something with gratitude. You probably had a lot of that in Lillooet. Probably a lot of that kind of.
It's just mind blowing to see grandmothers. Around the world, there are 13 grandmothers. One day was Days of Grandmothers, and they go around the world serving the world, and they have their own experience. So one of them was 93 years old, and with her voice, she just blew the whole crowd. She just has so much power, and her motivation is beyond. They're working. They were like in family constellations. When you heal, we are healing 7 generations back. We have to go, and when we are healing for the future, we're doing things for 7 generations forward. Whatever actions they're taking today, they're doing it for. And she had buried all her sons and daughters. And she's like, and the Creator has me here. I have to be here. And then the next day, the grandfathers is so honoring the families, the woman, the lineages, and they used to be in wars 100 years ago, and now they're bonding again.
Mm.
So it's a lot of it's very inspiring to see. For me, it's reaffirming what they taught me in the family, what I learned from the shamans back in town, and reaffirming just to be swiping the floor with them and being with them, and they invite everyone. They had like 200 people, and they're like, we're gonna give you all our love. We're gonna give you food. You're safe. Here you're safe. And then you go out to the world. So you feel like literally that the grandmother is telling, after a blessing, they have water from around the world, from India, Africa, Asia, South America. They travel around the world eating with water. And then she's like, they give the blessings of the water, and then like, well, now you're my water babies. Go and spread the word. They make you feel like you're, well, so it's very powerful what happens there. It's very, and it was the closure of a cycle in the Mayan calendar. And well, they're empowering everyone because
Sounds
things,
awesome.
things are changing to a different. And I actually was camping and I was touching things and I could see the electricity. I don't know why. I was touching the sleeping gun and come on, man, what is happening here?
Mm-hmm.
It was so, I don't know, little bit in the mountain range has a specific. I
Sounds like
never
you were
seen-
electrified.
Yes, I didn't. This is the first. I haven't seen that for a while. That I touched the clothes and everything was like, I'm trying more things to see where it's creating that electrical field that I could actually touch.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So yes, it's very. And now it was indigenous gathering. Now it's called all people's gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
So there were new musicians playing, and they're allowed to play in the.
Mm.
They're
You're welcome.
integrating and
Yeah.
people from Australia. So very, very, very powerful and very inspiring. And then a friend told me, or a person that I met there, that love, you have to be prepared to embrace all that love because it could knock you down. That it's so much that
Mm-hmm.
leaving behind or that breaking the ego or just being selfish,
Mm-hmm.
it should be effortless, but there's a lot of things that have to happen. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's why a lot of people experience love like that in a way, smashes them around. Mm. It's more than we are. So before we meditate, just does anybody want to? You know, last time we did this exercise, we wrote. Did anyone want to say anything about? Did they burn their thing? Oh yeah. Anybody want to share anything that they experienced with the burning of it? A feeling they might, Joyce?
I liked it.
Yeah.
Feels nice. I feel like it it opened things up actually.
Yeah.
Freeing.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah. I know, like for myself, I've taken so many classes, and I wrote notes like a mad person, feverishly for years, and I never looked at them. And so I just finally just stopped. And if I ever did go back, I couldn't make any sense out of it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I'm saying, like, I don't take notes anymore for that reason.
Yeah.
I never looked at them.
Yeah, it started to feel like a more of an attachment, you know, than anything. So it's nice to burn it and then sort of like trust something else. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because after I think that week I decluttered my storage space.
Oh.
So
wow.
part of the big
Lucky
part of
you.
the burning. It's like
Yeah.
because you said letting go, and I remember when you said that if you can't find it, just find.
Yeah.
There was an opening,
Yeah.
and then after we did it, that's when it came up.
Nice.
And I burned it, and then that week I was clearing stuff away, like old books that I didn't need, magazines that I didn't realize I had, like this thick 2 bags of magazines in my storage. Like, why did I keep this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's like clutter. It's almost like letting go of blocks. It's almost like stumbling blocks. That's what clutter feels like. Yeah, it's there. It's preventing you from having more space,
Mm-hmm.
openness.
Right. Mental space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, let's meditate. taking notice of your body. You can see it in your mind, like an outline even in your mind, the way the mental image you have of your body in your mind as soon as you close your eyes. And notice how it changes. And then switch to the feeling of the connections, the earth connections between your body and the earth. The nice warm sensation of the hands on the knees, or the hands in the hands. A nice sensation of where your hips are, your butt is touching the seat or cushion, your ankles and legs. And then return once again to the mental image in your mind that is your body, how you see your body in your mind. Then think of your body as an expression of nature. Some kind of expression of something that is not the body, something within, something that is within. Never-ending source. So for a moment in your mind's eye, think of a tree that maybe you know, a tree that you know in your life, that you look at in your life, you see once in a while or often in your life. In your mind, see the tree and let's, for the sake of joy, let's just say that this tree is in bloom. This tree is at the peak of its expression, at the crescendo of its expression, its seasonal peak. And see how within the inner sanctum, the inner realm of the tree, there is a force there. There is an expression. There is the miracle of life. There is this energy. And that tree is that energy's expression. is barely containable, and it roots into the earth and feels the earth, draws energy up, expands out, blooms into flowers, expands into the sky. And then switch to a flower. See a flower that you see in your life, possibly on a daily basis. And notice the same thing. It's an expression. There's no reason for it to be other than this beautiful expression of a deep, invisible, nameless thing. Call it love if you want to. Call it God if you want to. Now think of a river, a moving body of water that you've seen. Seeing it the same way. This expression, there's something inside, there's something within that is not the water. It is expressing itself as water. Now see them all connected, the tree, the flower, the water. As if it's one expression, or one force expressing itself in different ways. Now think of your bathtub at home and water coming out of the tap, filling your tub. Another expression filled into this molded tub that you'll lay your body into. That same invisible thing inside coming through the taps, filling your tub as water. And now think of your body. See the mental image of your body like that tree, like the river, like the flower. An expression. Beautiful body of yours. Unique, beautiful, unique expression of love. Blooming as your fingers. Blooming as your face. Blooming as your arms and heart, legs. Returning once again to the image of your body as like the tree. And the underlying thing, isness, whatever you want to call it, that is making itself known through your body. Just want you to notice something about that. That is also a mental image. The very idea of it and what you see that you're going to call the divine, or whatever it is, that is also a mental image. It's an idea in your mind. There's something deeper even than that. It cannot be said. Can you place your mind's attention there? Can you notice what pulls you and convinces you as something that exists truly, and it's just a mental image, and there's something deeper? It's waiting for you to fall into it. See if you can stay restful within whatever place you may have touched into as we release the so-called meditation, and slowly come back to taking in the room with our eyes. And we'll have a break. We'll have a shift in what we designate the time to be. Which will be, okay, we're going to stand up and go to the munchies.